What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Life Chats. My name is Kevin. This, of course, is Michael.
Hi.
You want to introduce
I didn't know
yourself?
if I was introducing myself or not. It's fine. Go ahead.
No, it's cool. Iris, got your back, man. Don't forget
Appreciate
that
it.
shit.
I know.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm never gonna forget
You're welcome.
that. Someone
So
has to.
yeah, oh no, we're not gonna get into that now. Just you have friends when other people aren't there for you, and that's the important thing. You friends are the family you get to pick, and I think that's the important thing. And you've said that before.
That's my Facebook profile picture that I tagged you in. That's where you
Not gonna lie, I guess I subconsciously remembered that because I was not thinking of that picture, to be honest. At least not that I was aware of. So that was really cool. But no, yeah, get that out of here. So so this is a different kind of episode where we kind of wanted to talk about what happened in Toronto this week and how it affected us as a community.
We actually had another topic in mind this week, but in light of what's happened, we thought as Torontonians. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
It's a hard word to say.
It's not really, but that's fine. Yeah,
It's hard for some people.
That's okay.
We just thought that we'd want to weigh in and just give our stance on the whole thing because we are proud Torontonian. I'm gonna get it one of these days.
One of these days. Good for you, man. But no, you know what? I think this is the reason why it's kind of a big deal for us is because you have spent a lot of time in Toronto. I am currently living in Toronto, and especially where I am in the city, I live on Shepherd, just west of Bathurst. So for me to get to school, which is Seneca College, for those wondering, I take transit that starts at Shepherd Young and goes to Yonge and Finch, and then I take a bus to school. So, I mean, that whole stretch of Yonge Street from Shepherd to Finch, I'm very familiar with. I'm there every single day when I'm at school, and you know what? There are a lot of memories for my my brother and I will go to North York Center and we'll go to the movie theater there. That's where we saw Ready Player One and other movies. So and that was right where someone was saying that they saw the severed leg of one of the women that was hit. So, and that was right across the street from where you think is such a safe place, you have such fond memories of somewhere, and then, you think that it doesn't happen, and I'm not going to get into this later, but we take it for, I think we as Canadians tend to live in this sort of world with these rose-colored glasses on where we assume because we are a peaceful nation that we are intolerant, not intolerant, we're tolerant. That's a huge difference. But we're tolerant of different cultures. We are a very mixed community and everyone gets along. And then so when an inevitable attack like this happens, regardless of what the MO is, I mean, we shouldn't be surprised, and yet we are, because this doesn't happen. This never happens.
Yeah. Good thing that you covered up with the whole tolerant thing, because
that could be a whole different thing that we're not getting into. So,
yeah. So, what can I say that you haven't said already? It's true. As Canadians, we think that we live pretty sheltered compared to the rest of the world. But in all honesty, though, Toronto is a major city. It's a major city just like all the other major cities. We've seen it in New York. We've seen it in Paris. We've seen it in London. And we've always been, we feel for those cities, absolutely. But it's always been like, you never think, again, like Kevin said, it's going to happen to you. But as the city has been expanding, how do I phrase this? Something like this potentially was going to happen. I worked at the CN Tower for 4 summers during my undergrad, and that's all you need to know about it.
Yeah, because that's a whole part of your life that is interesting.
Just like my undergrad, who needs to be reminded? Anyway, not the point. and I would look down in the city, and you know, you hear all these attacks that are happening, and at one, and this is morbid to think, but you know what? You're up there for hours in the day. This stuff happens, and you go, well, when is our number up? And as Canadians, we never thought that we were vulnerable. And I mean, yes, it was a van attack, but people died. A lot of people were injured. But this was like kind of the first wake up call for us to say, to you know, really like let us know that we are just as vulnerable as all those other major cities. We're not that much different from the rest of the world. And as, again, I'm going to keep saying morbid, but as morbid as this was, this kind of struck a chord with me that people don't always make it home. And that part of our life is not ideal. And we can't take things for granted, and it sucks. It really does, that we have to live with that fear and uncertainty that it can all be taken away at any moment. You know, like these people were just going about their day, and for whatever, and you know, well, we know the reason, but it just it ended, and Monday was a constant reminder that to never forget that. And and I love the city. I love that city a lot.
Well, what does Toronto mean to you, man? Like when you think of Toronto, what is like kind of the first thing that comes to mind for you? Everyone has a different image of what Toronto means to them. Some people it's home, some people it's work. Like what does Toronto mean to you?
It's you know what? I mean, wherever I go that's not in Canada, like wherever I travel and I bring up Toronto, a lot of what people tell me is that Toronto is an underrated city. And I agree. I think it's probably one of the most, but again, I mean, bias.
Yeah.
I think it's an underrated city, but you know, a lot of people share that sentiment. And I mean, you just look at that skyline and it's just like, it's so beautiful and it's amazing. And what Toronto means to me, well, I wasn't going to say safe. Safe, that's not the right word. But it's a place to experience.
Like secure.
Yeah, secure, but it's a place to experience and live life. I mean, we grew up in the suburbs. Mm-hmm. There's not much here. No. So it was a you know, and Toronto was close enough, you know, that we could go to.
Literally like 20 minutes, like half an hour on the train, yeah.
So, like, you know, and I went to work there for many summers, and I got to work in that city and got to see it a lot. And what it means to me, I mean, honestly, I mean, we grew up in the suburbs and all that, but Toronto was home. When I was younger, I was raised by my grandparents. I spent a lot of time there in downtown Toronto. I had tons of family that worked at the CN Tower, so I was in there a lot. I was babysat there a few times. I even have my old ID card that they made me when I was 4. I still have that, plus my recent one. So the one thing they let me keep. So it does mean a lot to me, and I can't really put it to words other than just home.
And I think that's what I was going to agree with it. Well, like for me, it definitely feels, when we travel abroad, I think like you're saying, you don't say you're from Oakville, you say you're from Toronto, and you know, there are certain things that I'm not crazy about the city, the Leafs being one of them. Sorry, but but not sorry. No, but I think Toronto to me is a place that is multicultural, and that's the nice thing about the city that I really like, is that you have so many different people coming together for a common community. And it doesn't matter your background, it doesn't matter where you're from. I think the majority of people living in Toronto, there always are going to be exceptions. Every city you live in, that's not just exclusive to here, but I feel like the majority of people living in the city have common goals. They want a safe life. They want to raise their families. They want a comfortable living. No one, regardless of where you're from, decide they don't want to damage the status quo. We give, and that's the thing about Canada. We allow people the freedom to practice whatever religion they want. They're not persecuted for belonging to a certain religion, or they're not a segregated group of people. I mean, it does happen, but it's as opposed to anywhere else, even in North America. Like, Canada is a place of inclusion, and like that's what I'm very proud of this city. And you see everyone kind of rallying together in this in the wake of this tragedy, and it's beautiful. Like it really is humbling to see all these people heartbroken from so many different backgrounds, and they're all mourning this loss that everyone's experiencing. So like Toronto to me is. Like, you know, like you're saying, it's home. But I would say for me, Toronto it's what the world should try to be. Not hate other people for differences, and not like people are going to be ignorant no matter where you go. There are people in Canada that are, but I just feel on the whole we are raised to think that, you know what? Don't hate what you don't know. Try to learn from it and gain a new perspective, and that's what Toronto's so special. And you know what? Canada is underrated on the whole. So like that's why, you know, Toronto is looked down, not looked down on, but is kind of excluded from conversations like, you know, Chicago and New York and stuff like that. But you know what, man? Like it's just. Because I know you wanted to have a rant about this, because you know that tends to be a popular segment of the show now, but no, because like, you know what, man, like what was like, because you were irritated by this, like what is some of that really is bothering you?
What do you mean? Hold on there. Irritated in what capacity?
This whole tragedy you've just been yeah.
Oh boy. All right. When the glasses come off, you know I'm really ticked. But then I can't read my notes. Okay. All right. Keep it together. Keep it together. Keep it together. I love America. I have American cousins. I have American friends. Love them. In fact, I wish that we lived closer, because I kind of like them more than some of my other Canadian family members. However, been keeping a track of this ever since it happened on Monday. And there are Americans, and before you go, well, how do you? I know, believe me, I do my homework. That that's a little loud. That have made light of this, going like, well, it's not a shooting. I guess Canada now needs van laws because of the whole, like, you know, gun thing.
Which seems kind of unrelated.
Right.
But who knows?
But yet you have these assholes, and yes, you people are not Americans, but the people that have made these comments, gotta be careful, that have been kind of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Ignorant?
Yeah, they've been ignorant to this. And it's like, look, people died. It was an attack. It was a terror attack. It wasn't, you know, people got hurt. And it's like, look, you know, yeah, no guns were used, but people died. Why are we making fun of all this? Like, I don't understand what the rationale was.
Like, if he used a gun, it would make sense.
Would that have made it legit to you? Like, I don't understand. And like, and it wasn't just one person. It was a lot more than I thought or would have hoped. And again, I'm not wanting to brush Americans with one brush. That is not what I'm trying to do. Again, I've been to America so many times, and I love the people there. But this kind of dug at me a lot. And you know, what had the flood? Was it Puerto Rico? No, not Puerto Rico. What was it?
Flood.
The flood back, like, in the fall. Like, 16 people died. Trump said it wasn't a tragedy. Katrina was a tragedy, and then people got upset.
Well, Puerto Rico had the hurricane.
But it was the one... But was it, 2017?
Yeah.
Right.
Where they had no power and stuff like that.
Right, and Trump went and just, like, threw water... Right. everyone in America was like, well, that's a tragedy. 16 people died. Okay, 1610. I mean, I don't get it. Like, what's the number where people consider this to be a tragedy? Like, I didn't understand that, and they tried to, and people, it wasn't me, but people tried to be like, we're trying to make the same arguments I was, and they weren't making themselves any better. If anything, they were digging the hole deeper. And look, I don't know anyone who was involved. I don't pretend to know who was involved in this. But when there are 10 families out there that didn't know, that their world was going to be crumbling down, it infuriates me that there are people that are out there that are making light of this, and it bothers me a lot. Am I hot? Yeah, I'm hot. I'm really hot because I'm tired. I'm tired of people taking shots at our city, at our country. And as a proud Torontonian and a proud Canadian, yeah, that really puts me on edge. It really does. And it makes me want to stand up and trust me, America, like, you do not want to get Canadians angry. You don't. And that just really set me on edge. And it did a lot of people set on edge. And above all else, it's disrespecting those who were killed. It's disrespecting those who were injured and their families, because they have a rough road ahead of them.
So, like, you know what, man? Like I don't seem to understand why they're even. And you know what? You're absolutely right. Like, it's to have such a thing like this go on and to have people make light of it or make sarcastic jokes about something that really doesn't deserve that sort of commentary is very crass, and it's not good. Like, it's very.
And again, these people probably won't see this, but I'm just gonna put it anyway. For those people out there that have been making light of this and not putting it on the same level as actual tragedies, what if that was your family member? What if it was you? These people, these women and some men, went out there just going about their day. What if that was, if you had a daughter, if your daughter was going to school, right? She's going to Seneca College. What if she was one of the girls that were run down? I think you would change your tune. And those people out there that are, if you do watch this, you better change your tune, because honestly, it shows the ignorance of some people. And if anything, that just divides us. And what I'm really proud, and I'll let you get to your point soon. You went on for a while. I let that happen. So just,
I've given you like 18 minutes. You give me 2 minutes. You've given me a lot, man. Oh, thank you, Master. You're the best. Yeah.
And don't you forget it. And Toronto, it was in an instinct that they all banded together. Strangers helping each other out. I was reading comments about just strangers helping each other on the bus or on the tram. Not the tram. Oh my God. Train. Subway. Yes. Thank you. And it was just like, that gave me a warm feeling, and we're Toronto strong. We can't be broken.
Absolutely. So. And you know what? I think that's probably a good place to leave it. Because you know what? I think that it's you've had a lot to say. You're hot and bothered now, and I mean, not that kind of hot and bothered. Put your shirt back up. That's good. But no, I think that it hit all of us really, and a tragedy is a tragedy. Like, I had friends reach out to me, family reach out to me just to make sure that we were okay.
Never have I ever was more thankful for the that Facebook thing, that check-in.
Yeah.
Right? Like, my phone was blowing up, and mostly people that I worked with in the city that I still had on there. So it was nice to see that they were safe, and yeah.
Things like this aren't really going to divide Toronto anymore. I think, the reaction of people, the majority of people are coming out and banding together. That's the kind of community that we are, and that's what I'm proud of Toronto for, that this kind of stuff doesn't divide people. It shouldn't. one person should not ruin it for everyone else. And I think that it's a good thing that a lot of people are helping each other in this time of adversity, because for the families affected by this, their lives are forever altered. That this kind of event, you can't just walk away from this unscathed. And I think that's going to be a long-lasting thing. You can't get over that. So you know what? Just be kind to one another. If you can. If you're an asshole, then I really don't have any patience for you, so you can fuck off. But no, you know what, man? It's you put it eloquently when you said, Toronto's strong, we can't be broken, and I think you're absolutely right. And that's why it was important for us to talk about this, because just the fact that a lot of people are hurting right now, and you know what, it's just good to kind of get your opinions off your chest about this kind of stuff. And if you if you have anything else to say, leave it in the comments. I'm gonna start that now.
Yeah. Oh. This will be fun. No. This will be fun. I wonder.
Leave a comment about how you'd be willing to help someone in this time of adversity, or not. Just tell someone how you really fuck someone over. Yeah.
or even on a more lighthearted note, Kevin, what Toronto means to you.
Simply put, man, just let us know what you think. But you know what? Thanks again for watching, guys. Stay tuned for next week's episode. Should be a good one. My name is Kevin.
This is Mike. I kind of want to do like Toronto. You know how like Wakanda had that like. No,
we're good. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again next weekend. Take care. Peace and love, guys. Take care.